tells me.
You're streaming yourself.
Yeah, there we go. We're live. Hello everyone. Welcome to our second spring stream. In case you didn't know, I'm Vida. I'm the community manager for Remedy, and I'm here with two members of the VFX team, two members of the Control dev team. I'm here with Jim in the blue.
Hello. Yes, my name's James Topman. I'm the senior VFX artist here at Remedy.
And my name is Elmeri. I'm the lead VFX at Remedy.
And they are kind of nervous because this is the first time you're doing this.
This is the first time we've ever been let out in public, so it's very exciting.
I've unlocked the VFX room and gone, you can come out now, but only for an hour, and then you'll go back in.
Straight back in that cupboard.
Shove you with a broom. Yeah, so we'll be talking about Control, and we'll be talking about VFX, which is, I've forgotten what VFX stands for, help me.
Visual effects.
Thank you. Visual effects, and how we make stuff blow up, and how we make those environments reactive, and why when you pick up a sofa, or when you fire at the sofa, it explodes into feathers. And we'll be talking some about your work on Quantum Break, because both of you guys worked on Quantum, which,
sure.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
And what else? We'll be playing the game a little bit, and we'll be showing some in-development stuff, because, like we've said, the oldest house is a shifting place, and Jim is actually one of the people, or what, the person?
One of the people.
One of the people, yeah.
One of the people who dealt with the building shifting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can go a little bit through that later on, so
yeah.
That should be fun.
Alright, and someone in the chat is saying that he looks like Christopher Nolan. I'm not sure what Christopher Nolan looks like, so I can't tell which one of you that is. No.
That's rude.
That's rude. My hair is like...
It does look a bit like Christopher Nolan, actually. I think that's a pretty good shout.
My hair's better. I got so distracted now.
Should we get started?
Mr. Nolan.
No, let's talk about what Control is, just in case there's some people here who don't know. There's 53 people right now. So I'm thinking that you guys probably know what Control is, but just in case, Control is the next game from Remedy Entertainment, and there we go. The next game from Remedy Entertainment, this is live, I'm so sorry, where you play as Jessie Faden, and she is a young woman who comes to this secretive government agency known as the Federal Bureau of Control, which it has its headquarters in the oldest house, which is this mysterious shifting building in the middle of New York. And as Jessie gets to the oldest house is attacked and invaded by an otherworldly entity known as the Hiss. And the Hiss kill the former director, Trench, and through a mysterious ritual, Jessie becomes the new director. She then has supernatural abilities that she has to use to fight the Hiss and take back control. And she also has the director's transforming service weapon, which she also uses to fight. And these guys helped make that look good, basically. And like I said, we'll be taking questions from the chat, so at any point, just type it in, I will see it, and we will do our absolute best to answer it. So let's, before we start playing the game, I want you to explain to me, like I'm 5 years old, what you guys do. What encompasses VFX?
Okay, you want to start?
What encompasses VFX?
That's like me sitting down with the lead designer and being like, so Paul, what is gameplay?
What is design?
What is design? What are video games?
So mostly we drink coffee. That's probably
Yellow.
Yellow is that's a good second choice. For many, well, yeah, in our team, for example, many of us do share the same title, the VFX artist title, but luckily our skill sets are like encompassing in a way that there are people who do super technical stuff and even have technical artist as a title, even working in the VFX team. Some people work more on the post pipeline, looking after the final image, and then there are, for example, Jim is working a lot with set pieces and bigger cinematic simulations and destruction and this kind of stuff for QB and Control as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so yeah, as you mentioned, I tend to do the set piece stuff, which in the game is sort of the large destruction moments which happen For instance, in Quantum Break, we had several big moments, including a ship which crashes into the bridge. We had several other enormous ship pieces which are falling down. We had trains.
Sorry. You said ship pieces?
Yes, I said
Okay.
ship pieces. Is it? Thank you.
Yeah.
We also had a train which crashed through a building, and all of this had to happen at real time, most of all.
Mhm.
Although we did do them through cinematics as well.
Mhm.
But from my end, like what I do compared to what Elmy does is actually on like a completely different spectrum. Like we're not doing exactly the same thing. He's dealing with the real time particle effects, whereas I'm dealing with sort of the offline simulation of stuff. So in that sense,
So yeah, VFX as a like an umbrella term can consider both of those things. So the very big set pieces that you need to work a lot with the level designers and designers and make it like a big part of the world. And then on the other hand, there can be these very minuscule, tiny things like bullet hits or things you pick up or this kind of things. So spectrum is broad. It's a lot of work and it's not boring.
it's definitely not boring.
No, and I know that everyone who comes to the studio, like we had Kojima Productions visiting recently, and they spent a lot of time in the FX room. Like from my very like entry level knowledge of VFX and of any kind of like that technical stuff, they seemed incredibly impressed and very interested in what
And,
So-
yeah, they definitely made a lot of satisfied noises.
Yeah. That was my
That's what I got from it as well. Yeah.
So, what you saying? You do the big stuff, and Elmity, you do the small stuff, but you do the real time stuff. That's me
Yes.
simplifying it grossly. So feel free to tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
the
good.
smallest stuff I do at the moment, like being a team lead, is I'm mostly working in Excel,
Oh yeah.
sitting in meetings and drinking coffee. So, so
People-
that's also one of the spectrums here.
Yeah. No, people would be surprised how much game development is done in Excel. Like our gameplay designers, just there's a thing that one of them did where you put a thing in Excel and you press enter and then it happens in the game.
Yeah, there's
There's lots
actual-
of things like that. Yeah.
actual like tools using Excel as like game developer tool.
This stream isn't sponsored by Microsoft Office. Anyway,
nor any of the other logos that might accidentally
no.
be visible there.
We might have some logos that aren't Remedy logos during the course of the stream, but it'll be fine. So are we ready to play the game?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just lean over to the other
Play.
Yeah, I will just keep this. There we go. All right, so let's get it. The camera's off now, so you can make stupid faces.
Oh, thank you. Finally.
Finally.
Yeah, so what do we want to start with? We wanted to do like an overview of the abilities, right? Want to
Sure,
start with
yeah.
that?
Well, there's a lot of VFX, real-time VFX, that go into the abilities of the main protagonist, of course. So we could take a look at those, of course. So one of them is launch ability, where we can pick stuff up from environment and manipulate and throw that stuff. Enemies, like an offensive ability. Then we have the shield.
Oh, and shield also like picks up nearby objects because
Yes,
those
so
lamps.
Luckily,
weren't there.
just so happened, I actually picked some banker's lamps from behind my back. So let's see if we can here illuminate some of these darker corners with light. Is fantastically.
Oh,
Yeah, let's-
we are running this. This is a demo that's like old in game development terms. Old. It was done in March, I think.
Yeah.
This is the demo that we showed on the PAX East show floor. So some stuff, a lot of stuff has been improved. A lot of stuff, some stuff has been changed. So like there will be frame rate drops. There will be weird animation glitches. There will be stuff like that happening occasionally. Bear with us. That's why the work in progress watermark is up there. So game looks better now, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, actually, this is surprising. Well, not surprising, but I was very glad to see that some of the stuff that we have here in the demo, of course, quite polished already, but some of this stuff has improved massively already in the builds that I, for example, played today on my own.
There's one thing which I know for sure that when you pull out the shield on this one, it's just pulling objects and you can see that they pass through the floor at the moment. But this is actually something which has been fixed in the later builds so that it's actually pulling the object straight from the floor below you, which I think really adds a lot to the effect and makes it feel more grounded.
Yeah.
All right. Can you? Thank you. Exactly.
That's the one. So this is our favorite. Be that fire extinguisher.
Try to get some of those hero props in. Not necessarily damage dealing, like environmental hazards, but still something that just feels nice.
Satisfying. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, we've got one part of our team as well is in charge of the real-time destruction, and that's obviously one of the key components of the core gameplay in this. It's been quite a big undertaking to get it all done, but really come off quite well. Not actually something that I'm personally involved in, so I'm able to say that I think it actually looks awesome, and it's amazing how much stuff you can actually destroy in this game.
Needs to be said that, of course, it's us two who are sitting here on this couch, but
There we go. That's fine.
Apparently, I can't concentrate on both playing
I told
and talking.
you. Let Jim play.
Yeah.
Do the hot seat so when one person is talking,
Oh, yeah, that's
the other
just
one can
constantly
play.
trading.
Also,
Yeah. And when we were playing this before we started, and Jim's not very good
Not
at
very
it.
good. As I mentioned, I don't really do that much like core gameplay stuff, so I'm not playing the game as often as say Elmarie is, probably even Vida at this point. So yeah, if I'm rubbish, apologies for that.
You'll be fine. So we're in a loading screen. What was my question? My question was.
I was still on about.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, yeah. So
Feel free.
that
There we
it's
go.
us sitting here, but we have a group of savage beasts doing this stuff with us
We've got a team. I mean,
every day there. So yeah.
How big is the VFX team at the moment?
That's a fair number. I don't think we need to name a number.
That's true. Let's just say it's definitely a lot more than just us two, at least.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah,
So go
melee
on.
was one of these abilities that we also have this kind of a telekinetic melee. That's, for example, if you hit the railing there or something.
Oh, sorry, that was.
So yeah, just kind of a free roaming section of one of these places in the building where like a main mission is happening.
Yeah, this is a demo area that's just been made to. Oh, there he goes. There he goes.
No,
It's,
that's some crazy stuff.
Work in progress.
Yeah. No, I think they despawn sometimes. But yeah, this is a free roam area that has been taken from one of the interconnected sectors of the oldest house. And this was built, like this demo was specifically custom built, what we're playing now, to be played on show floors and the press and stuff like that. So this was built to showcase combat and to find secrets in the environment and like narrative secrets and to play around with character mods and weapon mods. So this is indicative of the final product of the final game, but like, sorry Jim to knock on your gaming skills again. This is a little bit easier than what the final game will end up being,
I don't believe that. I just like I got this guy on my side now, so me and this guy are just gonna rule it. All right, gonna leave him to deal with the enemies. I'm just gonna go around destroying everything.
That was the seize ability, I guess.
Yes, that was the seize ability, which lets you switch the allegiance of enemies to your side. I wanted to ask, like, how do you come to the decision to be like, we're going to make a game where everything you punch will be destroyed?
Good question.
It's a great question. No,
Well, QB was pretty dynamic, wasn't it? We had quite a lot of dynamic props in Quantum Break, which were fun to play around with, especially with the time bending effects that we had in there. Especially when Jack would go into sort of slow motion mode, and then all of the props would sort of rise up around him, and that was already something which we were playing around with. So I guess the evolution of that.
Yeah.
also one of the key kind of ideas behind these telekinetic forces with Jesse is that we don't want them to feel too like magic-like,
Yeah.
but there's some kind of a grasp to reality still, and it's not necessarily something like an added extra effect that happens when you do something on it. I can actually
Please.
maybe elaborate. So when you levitate or when you do the dodge, let's go actually somewhere where there's a little bit of when you evade, sorry.
It's alright.
Yeah. So when you do the evasive move, and it's just not something that we definitely wanted to have an extra effect on it, but it's actually what's happening to the environment. These are a little bit maybe heavy props for this, but if there were more of those feathers and papers and this kind of stuff, so these abilities and these effects are very grounded to this world, and we are
Yeah, go to Darling's office. Or like this office, yeah.
I guess
This is great. It's just fun just to be inside.
so maybe just dodging away from one of these desks, for example, is the effect is what is happening to the environment rather than having some kind of a fantastical glowy thing with fairy dust.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just that
It's not being faked, is it? We have like, a lot of real.
what we want to do is having these telekinetic things that have a effect to the world, and they are part of this world and is controlling this stuff per mind, and that's the effect, you know.
So how, like, the I like that when you pick up the trash can that, like, different colored papers fly out. And also the feathers.
Yeah.
Yes, so
From like particles to all these dynamic debris, we want them all to be the illusion, at least, that they are in the same world, and the same forces are actually affecting this stuff. Very important for us to have this layer of believability in the.
It's not really faking any of these sort of vortexes that you're seeing coming off Jesse. They're kind of really being emitted, and they really are affecting the particles and the dynamic objects which are in the scene. Gives like a grounded feel to the effects.
it's always weird to me that, like, this is a supernatural action adventure and she has supernatural abilities and they're all like telekinetic based and stuff. But then we keep talking about we wanted the power, the abilities to be realistic, which like it makes sense because they are grounded in like physics. They're not grounded in quote unquote magic.
No, obviously we don't want to go down that end of things, but just if you were to create like, I don't know, maybe like a jet engine or something, and you would see the effects that would have on like particles or desk papers or feathers or whatever, just the effect of the force that it would push up it. This is the kind of thing we mean by having like a real world effect.
Right. Someone in the chat, I'm not going to read your name because I'm probably going to read it wrong. A Penyuan asked how destructible is the environment, and like from what we can see, it's pretty destructible.
Hopefully, it's destructible enough.
Yeah, we've actually got. I mean, what you're saying is like a lot of destruction that we have. We obviously, you can't go in and start destroying walls because that would start to affect the gameplay. But we try to make everything which isn't like super important to like game design and stuff like destructible. As you can see here, like we've gone into the sort of cafeteria and cafeteria.
Yeah.
Is that the right one?
Cafeteria? Yeah.
Cafeteria. Gone into the cafeteria.
Speaker,
yeah, apparently I can't speak anymore. So, like, we can make everything in here destructible, which really makes the combat quite insane at times in a good way. But we, like, the walls behind, these are not going to be, like, fully destructible, because if you could destroy those, then you could just, like, march your way straight to, like...
Destroy bits, so...
Destroy from parts
like,
of it, yeah.
Cosmetic destruction, even with these things that might look like...
solid, you can actually start pulling those to pieces, but there will always remain like a core on the inside. Let's say, yeah, cosmetic is a good way to describe it.
But whenever we get a vista like this, because this was a nice little cafeteria, whenever it starts to look like a lunar landscape, I think then there's enough destruction.
The launch there in front of that. In front of the cafeteria, just to see how much of the rubble it picks up from that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh,
shield.
sorry, for the shield. Yeah.
That shield you. And then it picks it up as you move, right? So if you move towards it, it'll pick it up.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
need
this-
to be in the vicinity, and obviously it needs to be of a certain like weight as well. Like anything too heavy won't be picked up.
Right.
You can only pick up like certain amounts. But as you can see, after like you've been fighting for a couple of minutes, the whole place starts to look like bomb hit it.
Yeah. Creator 889 in the chat asks, how far can you go so destructed environment doesn't get fixed? Is it like I'm going to the next room, but then I decide to come back and everything is in place again?
Well, we can probably now go up there where we wrecked like an office space or something. Of course, there are some like game design issues. If there are, for example, some environmental hazards that you can use to your advantage in a combat, and then those things don't respawn, then yeah, it changes the balance in the combat, and that's a balance that the designers, of course, right. But then
I think it is resetting at some point, but it's not resetting like really quickly. Like obviously,
Yeah.
if you want to come back here and fight again, you wouldn't want the place already destroyed. You want it to maybe be back in shape again. I think it's sort of set within like a region.
Right. You guys can the right here. Oh man, okay, so Stroitmeister asks, to me, what seems so frustrating is that you can't really show an effect without actually making/building it. How do you manage those expectations and constant tweaking? Do you lose a lot of work until the final look or effect is decided?
It's more real time effect.
yeah, sorry, can I? What was the question?
So the
there?
question is basically, like, you can't show an effect. You can't describe. I mean, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
what he's
yeah,
saying
yeah,
is
yeah.
you can't describe an effect very well
Yeah.
without actually making it and demonstrating it in the build.
Yeah.
So how do you manage expectations? How do you manage tweaking constantly and stuff like that? Do you
Yeah.
lose a lot of work until you decide on the final look?
And that's in a way true, that it is a completely different if the effects itself is what happens to the environment when you do it, and then you happen to do it in an environment that's not that reactive for whatever reason. It's work in progress or it's a different place where we can't. But of course, it affects it a bit, and there needs to be some like helpers from other techniques that you still can visualize the radius of the melee hit or something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is it was a design choice that we want to go this route. Not necessarily.
Something that takes working with. So you have an idea and you think it looks cool, but maybe your lead says no, we don't know what it looks like yet. So you just keep iterating on it, and they kind of trust you to come up with a cool effect. And we know what the art style is as well. So that's something quite cool.
Yeah.
It's just like a constant push along the same. As long as everybody's aligned, you can kind of feel like you trust what somebody else is going to give you when they say they're going to give you an effect. But
Right.
it's definitely an iterative process, and it's not something which we get on the first.
Well, luckily in this case, the more reactive the environments will get, and the more propping there is, the better our stuff will look. When
So, I don't know if you can answer this without spoiling or without revealing too much, but I'm gonna go for it anyway. What was the trickiest, from both your ends, so from both Jim, what you do, and Elmity, what you do, what was the trickiest thing to design and to make look good?
So that's a pretty easy question for me. That's the building shifting, which pretty much my main focus, which is something which we'll go into a bit later. But that was a project which I took several months of iterating on to get right, and something that we really didn't know what we were going to expect before we had it. So that was just something I had to work together with Janne, the art director, and I kept coming up with ideas, and he kept coming back to me and saying, yeah, this is cool, but isn't quite what I want, or it isn't quite what fits the vibe of the world. So then we just push in a slightly different direction.
Right.
Just keep coming back with sort of prototypes and and letting him judge how well that sort of fit the vibe. So.
From in the second to second combat point of view, of course, when the effect palette is like this, that it doesn't have a lot of extra, let's say, maybe gamified indicators or reduced visualizations like this, then it might be this style that we go for with these very physical VFX might not always be as readable as some other style.
I'm sorry, Jim, what are you
Could
trying
be.
to do? What are you...
I'm just trying to destroy this chair and this table, I guess.
I don't think that's a destroyable item.
I really haven't played this section, so I'm having a good time exploring.
Yeah, that's fine. You live your best life, absolutely.
Respect.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
that's fine. Just grass, mold.
Just some old guys. Don't worry about it.
Wait, somebody, what were you saying? Gamified
Yeah,
effects?
but,
What are gamified
so-
effects?
Just to strike a balance between how clear we want things to be and how believable in a way.
Yeah.
They are not always the same exact thing. So we need to strike a balance with the designers, with how much visualization helpers, for example, is needed to achieve the best possible playability with some of these. And that's a balancing act.
And obviously, I know, I mean, not speaking from our front, but obviously the destruction has.
There we go.
That's a good time to start talking. But obviously, the destruction from Matti and Voltri, who are the guys who are dealing with that side of things,
Yeah.
they've had. That's been a very big task to take on board, doing all the destruction of the game, basically. It's just been dealt by those two. So they've come up with a very, very technical system in software called Houdini, and they're just putting together the props and sending them through, and it's almost become like an automatic process. But in getting that rig to a point where they can actually like rely on it, and knowing how many props there are in the game, I can't even begin to think how many props we have. Try and fathom how many of props they've sent through and have to make destructible, and then add the particle effects on top of that is a mammoth undertaking. And full props to those guys for getting that stuff looking as good as it is, right?
What? Another probably broad question, but like, what lessons have you learned from working on Quantum that helped you get things done faster and more efficiently or differently on Control? Because like Quantum and Control are different games, different approaches, I guess. So Control's going to be way more open-ended. Quantum was more linear, and Quantum powers were time powers, and Control powers are telekinesis powers. So it is different, but you still do VFX.
True. Yeah, I mean, the effects on Quantum Break from the set piece side, we were very, like a lot of them were so cinematic that all the shots were like already in place, and we just had to kind of...
Camera's back. There we go.
We're back.
We're back. We're fine. It sometimes does that. Don't worry about it.
Allow camera. Okay, so yeah, a lot of the big set piece destruction in Quantum Break was like so cinematic that we could choose an angle that we wanted the destruction to happen, and then like we could just make it look cool from that direction.
Yeah.
But in Control, because we've gone down like this less cinematic path, and there's a lot more of this like these set pieces that happen like just throughout the game that you can actually view from any direction. So I guess planning has been really important me in this, and also like the freedom to prototype as well. Like I didn't come onto Control and somebody had already given me a list of cinematics to produce like certain effects for. They basically let me come on the project and they went, go and do what you think is like cool, go and play around and come up with some cool ideas and some prototypes, and then come back and we'll try and incorporate them and see if they fit into the world. So for me this has been like a really fun project to work on, because I could just go away and work on my own for like a few months and come up with some interesting ideas, and then come back and get as many of them into the game as possible. It's been a ton of fun to work on.
Bigger like differences between these two projects are of course that Quantum Break was more linear, so you as a developer are more in control of what the player will see and where they see it, what are the lighting conditions, where the camera angle roughly is. So it's easier to work on stuff to really visually work from certain perspective. But in here we have less control.
Woo.
We need like a bell, so we can like,
we
Get
need
out.
we need like, you know how in Pacific Rim they have like the countdown clocks, things when they count down to the next.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Pacific Rim is
Pacific
one of the
Rim
best
with the
movies.
big robots.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That was
Like it's we should be like it's been X number of hours because we do say it hourly since our last accidental
It's
control
great.
pun.
For all the videos as well that I've watched, and just whenever somebody says control, you just want to like ring that bell and just like there it is.
Yep.
Everybody knows it. Go on, do it, Elmarie. This is one of our favourite moments from the demo.
Yeah.
It's picking up that projector.
Your darling.
Pick it up. Pick it up.
Oh Lord.
So who decided that this would be a thing,
Is this
and also
another?
why?
Is this another magnificent prototype by Salasti? Probably.
Could well be. Yeah, actually, it might have been Celestine.
Can we tell the legend of Tommy Salasti?
Maybe that's for another stream.
I will never get him on a stream because he is
He
way
won't, he
too
won't.
camera shy.
Well, Tommy Salasti has been at Remedy for I think 18 years or something, and it was brought in because he created a mod for Max Payne, and when Mixu, the game director, saw this mod, he was like, "We should hire this guy." So they just rung up Tommy, who I think was like at school, and they were
I
like,
think so, yeah.
"Hey Tommy, do you want to come and work at Remedy? Because we really like your mod." And he was like, "All right." And then like now he's here, and he's like the coolest guy ever. And he's really good at coming up with these like cool prototype ideas, and just a complete wizard when it comes to working with the tools that we have here. Some of the coolest stuff comes. I think he was one of the original prototypes of the launch. Actually, came from Tommy when we just started on Control, and we're already looking cool then.
Nice.
It's a nice moment.
That is a good moment. We are playing on PC, by the way. Kaiten, I'm sorry, in the chat is asking what we're playing on. We're playing on PC. Let me turn off the camera. There we go. My question is, so in a game that's open-ended, in a game where you can pretty much go wherever you like, where you don't have to follow the main path if you don't want to, it's challenging for all departments to, because you can't anticipate what the player will do. Like, right? It's difficult to anticipate what the player will do. Okay, I can speak. Where they'll go and things like that. So, how do you tackle those challenges? I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess, for example, for the environmental destruction point of view, we try to make this, I guess this is not an accident that we really embrace this brutalism as well, but we try to make some of these like pieces modular as well, that there's some VFX artists, but this is still not a very big team, so we need to definitely work smart here, and that's actually one of the things that is significantly improved from Quantum Break times as well, that there are some low-hanging fruit and easy wins and things when we have, of course we are working with Northlight, so we have the own engine and tools team here in the house, so just collaborating with those guys and getting tools that are specifically made for these use cases in this project, of course, have helped a lot.
So our tools have improved since, like, during working on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm jumping around, but oh, this is good. From Cathal, I again apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. How many visual effects tend to be impromptu decisions, I think, from designers which end up sticking versus ones that are artworked and planned out? Jim, you laughed. Why?
I laugh because so many times, like, the designers have come to us and they've just said, okay, we're going to have this effect in here. We've put like a placeholder effect in here. they were like, "Don't worry, we're just going to expect you to like deal with this," and they just like leave it on our desk. Like, this is your problem now. Like, we made an enemy. Like, you need to make this enemy cooler. Like, let's deal with this. And we're like, but we're right in the middle of like 10 other things. Like, I don't think we really have time to deal with. No, it's okay. You do this. It's going to be fine. And then they just leave it on our desk. We just have to deal with it.
Right. And you do deal with it, right?
Yeah, of course we deal with it, but that often ends up with some of the best stuff that we have, I think. I obviously can't say anything, but we do have a certain enemy later on who was completely like given to us and like do the coolest stuff you can for this, and we ended up with something which I think is one of the craziest things I've seen in Control for sure. So
is it like a regular quote unquote enemy, or is it a boss?
it is not a regular enemy.
It's a boss. Okay. We have said that there will be bosses in the game, that's fine. It's fine to talk about. Just don't name them and don't give a number, but that's fine.
But yeah, so we have a very odd boss, which came from a very weird like angle to begin with, to be honest. But it was really obscure to work on that, and I think the result that we came up with is...
Is it the... I'm gonna try and be vague. Is it the one with the weird sounds?
That's vague.
That's
That
vague,
is
that's
super
too vague.
vague.
Okay, that's fine.
What is?
This is like a shelter? It's an emergency shelter.
So,
Yep.
what was the original question there?
I
was
forgot. Hang on,
yeah.
let me find it again.
whether after a
Oh,
number
how
or-
many visual effects tend to be impromptu decisions from designers which end up sticking versus ones that are artworked and planned out? So I think they were after a number, but you...
Yeah,
I don't know
it
if you can
depends.
even
It's
give
a
a number.
collaborative effort, and there's like some game design things that an enemy should do need to be visualized by us somehow, for example. And it completely depends. It's not necessarily the first thing that comes to mind that we then end up going with if it doesn't fit the lore or it's hard to say. There are cases where we come up with something because it naturally comes up from some visual prototype that we did, and we think that okay, that's so cool that we need to do something with this, and then designers are happy with this and are getting it in some place, and then the other way around as well. There's a new design for something, and then we need to visualize that.
I don't know why I've done
Beautiful.
to this machine, but...
I guess you can't break the console because you need to interact with it. Yeah, that's one thing that we were talking about last time, like our last stream when we talked about gameplay and story. I think we mentioned that like when you have extremely reactive environments like this, you have to make sure that certain objects aren't destructible purely because you have to go to this desk and find this document or press this button or solve this puzzle or something, and if you just wreck it, then you won't be able to progress through the game. Right?
Yeah, effectively, the game will be broken at that point.
Yeah.
You create a bug, so...
Yeah. Oh yeah, another question again that's repeating itself is if environmental damage is permanent. No, it's not permanent. It
It's
does
not.
reset the like the
It's
rooms.
semi-permanent. Might work.
I mean, everything is semi-permanent except... I don't know.
Try though.
Thank you. And that Studio Ghibli asks, I heard somewhere that you guys were inspired by House of Leaves. Is that true? Yeah, that is one of the inspirations for the vibe and for the narrative of the game. House of Leaves is one of Sam's favorite books. So, but yeah, let's get back to VFX. I lost that. What are you doing?
No idea.
Is it? Oh, there we go. The blurry, wavy visual effects of the hiss. What went into that design and implementation wise? Because I remember that looking different at some point during development. Can you go find some enemies and shoot them, Jim?
Oh.
Sorry, not those ones. Like some hiss.
Not really.
And it's actually already looking a bit different in the very current build as well, but it's this very custom visualization for this
Yeah, that
this
kind of like
faceless enemy
It's the rainbow.
force. and how
rainbow
it's-
thing, yeah.
How it's emanating from the enemies.
That is the hit.
That's how we visualize the hiss on these enemies that taken over. It's a very custom like a combination of effects and shader trigger it that we do
buffers,
that we do here. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same. Basically, the mad scientist behind this effect is Jan Rukkinen, who was working on the visual language of broken time in Quantum Break as well.
Yeah.
Basically, this is this game's version of that very custom thing, where there's all kinds of feedback loops and reprojections and fluid sims going on there.
Fluid simulations happening in different buffers, which are affecting certain objects being pushed around by the velocity. Pretty technical solution to this.
How much do you have to think about physics when you do the effects on Control? Do you, because like a lot of stuff that you've mentioned is very physics based, obviously, and we've talked about it not wanting to have it feel magical or like, you know. So how much do you have to think about real science?
Well,
Real science. I think it comes more as just like, as a VFX artist, you kind of, when you're in the world around you, you kind of take a little bit more note of how things move and how things react to it. You just have to kind of be like hyper aware of what would actually happen. Like if I destroy this concrete, how will it break? It's not going to break into tiny fragments immediately like sand or something. It's going to break into like bigger clusters, and that's going to give you a sort of concrete feel. It's just kind of being aware of the materials that you're working with and kind of making sure that those are brought forward when you're making your effects of destructions.
Mm-hmm.
and then we can actually do nice contradictions on
There
when
we
we are
go.
doing nice when we are doing very physical things here on the second side in the combat. Then we can do very unphysical things in other things like the building shifting, for example, which if, like by design doesn't feel like Mayan ruins or stones are grinding against each other, but it's more like a kaleidoscopic mirror, like light is bending type of effect.
Yeah.
Which is very unphysical in a way.
Let's go show that building shifting. Go to the mirror maze. So the mirror maze is
Question.
Yeah.
It wasn't a question.
It's a request. It's not even a request. It's an
It
order.
actually take your time here because there's
Super
one of
windy
these.
down here.
Also,
Real windy this.
also Trench is giving us some information. If you
Possibly changing labyrinth can ever pass through.
I really like
Dimension pieces. The danger
this is also one part of the full effects,
our strongest
the narrative mode.
Yeah. There's like a bunch of fire breaks. Yeah, so let's talk about building shifting. Tell
A
me.
little bit about building shifting. Okay, so here we are in the mirror maze. So yeah, this is one area of the game where we looking into crazy building shifting stuff. So as the name suggests, this is the mirror maze, and as you make your way around it, you can be easily. This was an effect done by Vlad, one of the members of our team who deals with the Houdini side of things. And he created this effect after he was given a brief, like on a maze, which sort of shifts around you as you walk through it, and it will shift away behind you or shift back behind you once you pass through it. So it adds quite a nice like kaleidoscopic effect, and it took him maybe a month or two to sort of prototype the vibe for it. So sort of working with the patterns, as you can see the patterns on the wallpaper here, and we sort of have the triangular shape. And we also want to go with the sort of stepping vibe that we have from the architecture, from the Brutalist architecture. So you end up with this sort of stepping effect, which sort of creates like a kaleidoscopic motion, which sort of baffles you when you look at it, which is nice and it's trippy in parts. And this is just like one part. Like this is just kind of like a taster, this little section. This is not like what you get in the full game, like a lot crazier and it's a lot bigger. But I think it's a really nice place just to showcase what vibe is.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously that can segue us in quite nicely to talking a little bit more about building shifting. So
Yeah, we've got a little in progress video
I'm not
that
going
we
to talk
can
through
show.
this video.
There's like one more question. Well, two more questions that are pretty. The soil in the flower beds of plants does not crumble, says someone in the chat.
Actually, that has been fixed
Oh, okay.
from this demo. Yeah.
Yeah, as we mentioned, this is like a work in progress. So like a lot of the effects that you're seeing here, like may well have been updated for the latest version.
How do you decide when to stop?
That's a very good
We
question.
can't decide. It's the producers who decide it for us.
And given if it was just up to us, we'd just be polishing this stuff like forever, I think.
Yeah, that was gonna be my follow-up question. Like, if there are no producers to whack you on the back of the head and be like, "Stop it!" How much? How crazy would you go?
Well, it is super easy to get lost in these kind of things and just make it more granular and focus on the smaller and smaller details, and that's actually a balance that we need to somehow try to strike, where we need to make every sector of the game actually as reactive, not necessarily most reactive, but as reactive, so that the same level of detail in just how it responds to you stays there.
Right. Yes.
Right,
Let's
so-
see. Let me move. Okay. This. Feel free to destroy the game.
And just continue doing it.
Oh, I can do that actually. I have the
Oh,
power.
you mean actually kill the game?
Yeah, kill the game.
Um,
Oh, another thing. Elmedy, I guess.
Yep.
How difficult was it to make the different service weapon variations distinct in game without breaking the original aesthetic? Is that something you can talk about?
Well, a bit. Let's see. We can see it in here a bit, maybe.
Wait, let me go back then. Yep, go for it.
These
Got
are
2
not.
minutes.
Okay. Oh yeah, playtime remaining, of course. These are not all of the service weapon different shapes
Yeah,
that
we
we
have
can
more.
have. But then, yeah, we tried to. The in-game camera is at this certain distance of the weapon always, so the weapon actually physically has different forms. But just so to reinforce those and make it super clear for the player that which shape of the weapon you are actually currently using, we try to use different techniques, like just different color, very different silhouette on the muzzle flash, for example, even if it's quite, in many cases, mechanical and there's not necessarily even like emissive things or flames or anything like this. But trying to draw from the silhouette of the weapon and emphasize those shapes with different techniques. And yeah, it was fun, but also of course hard working in this kind of stuff where you definitely need to reinvent the wheel, because that's not a real life weapon. You might have some kind of references, but still you have to actually just try to come up with something that visually works, is complementing the weapon nicely, and then is like somehow fun and rewarding to use. So
Right. Hope that answers the question. Yeah. Okay, feel free to wreck this room in the 40 seconds you have.
oh lord,
Quick, destroy everything.
let's quickly
Quick.
open a box there.
Loot.
Nice. Then is there anything? Get some more feathers going, maybe a bit.
Yes.
What about these
I've
lamps?
turned off the sound, so there's no sound right now, but from the game at least. You can get the lamps. You can get them with launch.
I don't know about the fan.
Maybe we're done. Done with the maze.
I think we're done.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Get out.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let us show building shifting. Let me. Us. Oh. And then you're gonna have to look on this screen, Jim, because I don't want to accidentally mess something up.
Right.
I'll try it.
So this
Wait.
I was just gonna give an intro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do an intro. Do an intro first. Absolutely.
Okay, so you may have seen from the demo we released for the E3 last year that there was a section where the building does all this sort of crazy shifting stuff, and that's like an ongoing theme throughout the game. So basically, I was in charge of the setup for that, and I was just going to quickly go through the sort of Houdini setup, which is Houdini is the 3D software that I use for that, and do like a quick overview of the setup for that. So maybe some of the more technical people can see how that's done, and for everybody else.
Yeah, for everyone else, it looks neat, and also you will explain it in
I
a.
will explain it. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if this works.
I'm gonna let Vida explain how it's done.
Vida
I
could
think,
explain this. And
It does not work. Does it work?
The closer I can't see much from here.
Let's try it. Let's.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
I need to go see
Go
it.
away.
I'm hiding there.
Come back. I need to fix it because it doesn't work. It'll
that's
be
demo
fine.
effect.
Classic. All right. Keep talking.
Keep talking. Well,
Building
Maybe a
shifting.
quick, maybe a quick joke.
Yeah, quick show.
So many jokes. Hard to choose one.
How much are RTX questions?
There have been some. Yeah,
There have been some RTX questions, but I
Yeah.
don't.
Well, I don't really know much about.
Yeah,
Just-
sorry.
couple of really quick highlights from the RTX stuff that I have seen in the build in that area actually are really nice. There was, for example, in the Darling office where we picked up the projector that was projecting a video on that wall. When you go with the player right next to the wall where the video is getting projected, the video material of that wall is getting bounced like the player. That's something
Quite
that's
insane.
I don't even know what that means.
not many people probably get a kick out of, but technically, yeah,
It's
it was
very
quite
cool,
impressive.
Yeah, there is some.
Listen, it is going well. I love this because like it works completely fine when we test it, and then when I'm live, it's like nope. There we go.
Can people see this now?
People can
Or is
see
it
this
just
now.
us?
People can see this now. This is going
Let me
on.
come over and explain. I can't read from
Okay.
back there, but
Yeah. People can't see you, so that's fine.
that's fine. Okay, so yeah, this is just the building shifting. You can see some of the building shifting happening here, and this is in Houdini. Unfortunately, the window is cutting off some
Shall
of
I make
the
it
important
smaller?
stuff. And maybe make it a little bit smaller so we can see like the stuff down here. So
Yeah. Hide the accidental Slack notification.
yeah, this is
that
a
all
good
right?
idea. So this is like the room shell that we have, and I go through, and this is like lots of cleanup. This is one of many building shifts. So this is just the rig that I have set up for it. This creates some subdivision on like the prim nums, and then from there we take it through like a set of extrusions. We do that like several times over. So we extrude every prim num, so every object is extruded in sort of like a box, and then that object is then lerped back to its like original position. And skip on a little bit maybe.
I cannot do that. We
Okay,
can
well,
continue
we can just watch.
talking.
We can just watch. It doesn't take too long.
So
So for every polygon, we extrude it out, and then we lerp back to its original position.
So is it like all custom built? Do you tell? I'm like simplifying this because I don't understand it. So do you like automate some stuff, or do you manually
It's
build
all
of
done
it?
like procedurally through
Right.
Houdini. Houdini is a procedural system. So here you can see like the 3 levels of extrusion that each of the polygons will go through. And once we get to that point, we then use this activator, which is this red sphere. And once it goes into the sphere, it will begin its like lerp back to its original position. And when this happens over the case of several thousand objects, we get the building shifting effect, and this is something which I created so that I could plug in, because we were getting so many of these in the game and so many iterations on the shell that I really had to create like a system for it. This then goes through like an optimization pass, and we add like an edge decals to the objects which are in the player visibility area. So this is like another little section in here which we go through, showcase what's happening. So this is the non-optimized version, and then it gets optimized further down here. And then if it was in the right threshold, it would have taken on edge decals. And then after that, it's pretty much done. It's time to export it out from there. So I think in a second, you can see what this looks like in Houdini, and then I take it to our game engine.
There it is.
And this is how the final effect looks from WED, our world editor, and you can just kind of see the effect playing when I get the camera into place.
And how long does it take to create something like this?
I'd say the rig probably took like off and on like 3 or 4 months to create, but that was like amongst a bunch of other different effects I had to create. But now I've got it down to like creating one of these shifts. I could probably turn it over in maybe like an hour or two if I was given like a new shell. So having the Houdini like procedural system here has been insanely beneficial.
There we go, video's done.
Well, that's the end of the technical stuff.
So basically, what you're saying is if you first spend a lot of time building it, and then if I come to you and say, hey, this bathroom now needs to shift,
yeah,
you can do it pretty fast.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. If you just gave me the shell of the room, and I can just plug it straight in, and it'll give me the whole shift. It'll be done in just like a minute or two, and then I can export it out. So having the system there has really saved me so much time. Like previously on Quantum Break, for instance, when we weren't using Houdini, I would have had to do this whole setup manually to some extent, and that's something I could have done really. I think that shift there was maybe 3,000 or 4,000 objects. So you're talking about keyframing each of those objects with a slight offset over several hundred frames is just very happy to have that set up.
And if people are completely lost in how that actually looks in the game,
kind of lost.
then in the previous E3 trailer, I
yes.
think. Yes.
Yeah, the announced trailer, and I think there's a demo video from the E3 Coliseum. So when Jesse cleanses the control point, you see her like slam down on the ground, and then the camera pans up to the ceiling, and then the ceiling does the shifting.
You see that the whole room shift back
Yes.
into its original place, because it's kind of like the building has been infected by the hiss. I think it's been sort of taken over by the hiss, and it's caused what would usually, like, the building does move on its own accord, but the shifting has caused it to sort of grow out of control.
Hey, sorry.
There's that
There
there
it is.
again.
Yeah.
And once you cleanse it, then it all shifts back into its original position. So quite a key feature.
And you get stuck building.
You can. I cannot say anything more than that, I think.
Good.
But
Good. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Our time is up. Are there any last things that you want to say? Any well wishes? Say hi to your mum, Elmedy.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Elmary's mum.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining me. Control is out on August 27th for the PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. You can pre-order it from controlgame.com. Elmedy doesn't have a web presence. You are on Twitter. Jim_FX.
Jim FX, Jim_FX.
And there goes the camera again. I need to talk to someone about that. Yeah, okay. I am on Twitter as Vida is online. Remedy is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the good social medias as Remedy Games. Control is on all the social medias as Control Remedy. And we have a Discord. So if you want to join the Control Discord, it's discord.gg/control is the invite link thing. So just go there, click on it, join us, come talk to us. The community is small and it's very welcoming and it's very nice. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you guys again. We will be back with a stream in May where we will be showing a part of a main mission, which should be exciting. We'll have Mikael Kasurinen, who is the game director, and we'll have Thomas Puha, who is the communications director. Should be fun.
Sounds fun.
I will shove you back into your room now.
Please do. This light is too bright.
All right. How do I stop this? There we go. All right. Bye.
Bye.